next hour about changing our traditions, our history, and our conversation. It's been done. So what do we do about it? That's at the top of next hour. Right now, I'd just like you to noodle this. What are the biggest things that we fight right now? What are the biggest things that we have to do? Things that we have to solve right now, or we lose everything. I would say the presidential election. However, we're not going to be saved by any president. So I'd like to look a little deeper than that. We have to save abortion. We have to save these children. We are now talking about infanticide. Do you know that the House has voted 25 times? 25 times they have voted down any kind of bill to stop infanticide. 25 times already. That's insane. How do you do that? The Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the border, tech, loss of trust, spending, healthcare, corruption, EDU, the packing of courts. How do we manage this? Like I was saying at the beginning of the show, there's so much. How do we manage it? I'll boil this down at the top of next hour, and I'll show you it's really not that hard.
You're listening to Glenn Beck.
You know, I told you
promo code Glenn.
We welcome Pat Gray in, who's just finished his taping of today's podcast, Pat Gray Unleashed. Welcome to the program, Pat. How are you?
Good.
Good podcast today?
It's fabulous.
Okay.
It's fabulous.
It always is. It always is.
Yeah.
So you're going to enjoy this because you and I, Pat, we've been on this for 30-some years plus. Mm-hmm. The communist goals of 1963 that were read into the House records in Congress. But I want to alert you, we found something more frightening than this. It was written by the historian of the Communist Party in the Soviet Union. It was never meant for release. It was found in the 1990s and then just buried. We found it in our research looking for something else. And in 4 weeks, we're going to present it. It is more frightening than this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it is the playbook on how to do it.
How to accomplish all these goals.
And how to accomplish it here in America. And if you look at it, it's all being done.
Well, yeah. The 45 goals that were entered in the congressional record, some of them are kind of outdated now because it involves Soviet satellite nations and all of that.
But listen to some of these.
Some of them are just dead on.
Promote the UN is the only hope for mankind. Yeah, that's done. Mm-hmm. Resist any attempt to outlaw the Communist Party. Do you remember what happened to the teachers union in California, 2008? Remember we asked, why did they do that? Wait a minute. What did they just do? Do you remember?
Yeah.
They said they had a rule in the schools that you could not be a member of the teachers union if you had ever been a communist or if you had ever advocated for the overthrow of the United States government.
Right.
And then for some strange reason, they took that out.
They took that out. Yeah.
Resist any attempt to outlaw the Communist Party. Do away with all loyalty oaths. This one.
Look at 15.
Capture one or both political parties in the United States.
Done. Absolutely done on the Democrat Party. Absolutely done. It's the Marxist political party now.
Use technical decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities violate civil rights. Done. Get control of the schools.
Done.
Use them as transmission belts for socialism and get current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations.
Jeez. Put
party line in textbooks. All of that's done. Number 18, gain control of student newspapers. 19, these are the communist goals of 1963, how to destroy America. Use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. Number 20, infiltrate the press. Get control of book review assignments.
You don't think that's happened, do you?
No, just read the book review from the New York Times of Ben Shapiro's new book.
Jeez.
Gain control of editorial writing and policy-making positions. Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, motion pictures. Number 22, continue discrediting American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms.
They have that in every city in America now.
Oh, yeah.
You see some of those, the weird things that they, what do they call that thing in Houston? That's just a twisted mess of metal. And there's one in Chicago, too. They do this all over the country.
Here's the interesting thing about this. It also says eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings. Mm-hmm. They're talking about taking Thomas Jefferson down.
At Hofstra.
Yeah.
Hofstra University. Yeah, because not only was he a slave owner, but of course a sexual predator, a sex offender. Jeez.
Control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Now, what's interesting is the left got their name as the defenders of free speech because they would defend a cross and urine and call it art.
Yeah.
Now that they have that, they are also on television calling for an end of free speech, political speech.
Interesting.
26, I don't even know if we can even, let me go to 25. Break down all cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography, obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. All done. 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy.
You almost can't even say that line anymore. That's how much that's been taken care of.
Infiltrate the churches and replace revealed religion with social religion.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Eliminate prayer or any phase of a religious expression in the schools on the ground. It violates the principle of separation in church and state. Discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, and out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. Number 30, discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man.
They've gone far past that.
Yeah. Belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the grounds it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since communists took over. Support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. Eliminate all laws and procedures which interfere with the operation of communists, blah, blah, blah. Discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Done. Infiltrate and gain control of more unions.
Did that a long time ago.
Yeah. Transfer some of the powers of arrest to the police to social agencies. We're doing that now. Mm-hmm. You can come in and take your kids.
Yeah.
They can take your kids. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. Dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. Replace communist goals with socialist and replace mental health laws. Use mental health laws as means of gaining coercive control over those with guns who oppose our socialist goals. It's there. Mm-hmm. Discredit the family as an institution.
Long time ago, that was done. Long time ago.
Emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Already done. Attribute prejudice, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppress influence of parents. create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition. Think of that one with Antifa. That students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, and social problems. Overthrow all colonial governments before native populations are ready for self-government. Blah, 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 blah. The rest of them are not. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's been done.
Virtually all of it.
It's worse than this. When you see what we're going to reveal, because they used it. This was an internal document written by the head of the Soviet history. So he was documenting, he was archiving everything to, that on how we did it. But it was an internal document. And when the wall came down, that document got out. And it shows how they did it. It shows, remember, when World War II ended, the Allies insisted you cannot just roll tanks into any country. You can't do it. You can't start a war. You can't just take it over. Now, if they decide to vote and they decide to go with you, that's another thing. But you just can't roll tanks in. Well, crap. Then how do we do it? And they did it in country after country. And it was a very well thought out plan, step by step, exactly how you take a free market, a free democratic society, and flip them. And it shows the examples. The guy was recording history. Here's how we did it. Here's what happened. It's being done here. It's all being done here.
Wow. And where did you find this, or can you say?
No, one of our researchers, Jason, found it. I'm not sure where he found it, but it's pretty amazing. We're going to do a whole special on it in about 4 weeks because it's pretty extensive and phenomenal.
And it's kind of tied into the 45 goals?
No, it's just, yes and no. It has the same kind of goals, but this is just the goals. Mm-hmm. This says, here's how you do it.
How do we get to those goals?
How do we get that? Yeah. How do we get that done? Thanks, Pat.
Yep.
All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about